Finally, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, right, boss music's playing. Security consultant, you can't even figure out how Twitch works. Oh. Yeah, I should just have become a DJ. 16 minutes of music. Yeah, I can make a career out of that. So, alright, hey, good evening, guys and girls, or whoever's joining me tonight. Let me know if something's too loud while I try and figure this whole thing out. But we should be good from now. So yeah, alright, good evening. Thanks guys for joining. For, I guess, those who don't know me, and those for who do. I'm Jack. Basically, I'm a security consultant and a security researcher, as well as a red team operator for NCC Group. Some of you might know me from HackTheBox under my pseudonym as KKB. But besides that, I know a few of you might know me from my blog post. Hey, and TRP Master Howitzer, thanks for joining. Yeah, I was actually considering doing this on YouTube, just not having you guys log in and all that, but this works, I would assume. And hello, Ramon. Kind sir. Alright, so I guess I could kick this whole stream off. A big point of me doing this whole stream was to more focus on doing an AMA or an Ask Me Anything. For a lot of people in, I guess, the security industry, as well as for people who are beginning. And I guess trying to become pen testers or security engineers or malware analysts, pretty much anything that you really want to do in the cybersecurity field. I know a lot of my time has been spent writing blog posts, doing HackTheBox and all that, and really trying to help the industry. So, you know, the whole point of trying to move with these streams and I guess start off is to provide, I guess, free material for a lot of people. Just because a lot of it now is behind like payment gates, and you know, there's like courses. Of course, OSCP just updated their stuff, which is phenomenal. From what I'm hearing, is that it's more centered toward the red teamers. But you know, updated material is phenomenal. The OSCP is great. So yeah, if you have the time and money, go ahead and do that or redo it. I'd be really interested to see how a lot of people are moving forward with that new update for the certification program. But without further ado, I guess there's only a few of us online. I guess if anyone has questions about security, that'd be great. I know on Twitter I actually asked a few people. Actually, jeez, I'm like typo challenged and I'm slurring my words. So one of the questions I actually got from Twitter was, I'm just starting off in security, but honestly I have no clue where to begin besides learning basic networking and programming. Any advice on where to start or where to focus my efforts? So that's actually a phenomenal question, especially for a lot of people who are starting off in information security. You know, I started my career back in, man, it was like 2015, 2016. So it's been about 4 or 5 years now within the information security industry or cybersecurity industry, you know, whatever you really want to call it. So yeah, I've been there. I remember doing my first OSCP and going through sufferance and all those kind of boxes, spending my nights just hacking away. So I guess for that person who asked specifically for where to start, I would highly recommend that you do you do start with the Security Plus certificate. Professor Messer actually has a very, very good course online for anybody who wants to learn the basics, whether that's networking, whether that's any basics about malware, about firewalls. Of course, you're going to hear me say like the CIA triad. So for those that don't know what that is, that's, you know, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which when you do work as a security engineer or something, you're going to hear that a lot. It's just another load of sale words, but I know maybe a few of us here are engineers. What was that course again? That was Professor Messer's Security Plus. So let me find that. So yeah, if you actually go to professormesser.com, he has a lot of material there for, it's CompTIA, and I know a lot of people are kind of against this A+ with the recent stuff, especially with, you know, them blocking people trying to fix it, or like laptops and phones and personal stuff. I know Lewis Rossman, if you ever watch him on YouTube, who fixes a lot of MacBooks and Apple devices, he's really against them, just because they lobbied against people who tried to fix it. But yeah, honestly, I believe that this course it's free, which is great. But, you know, it has everything about malware, the different attack types, privilege escalations, threat actors, security components, you know, information about the architecture and design, and as well as like information about like IAM. Yeah, the 401 syllabus. But, you know, this is great, especially if you really need to understand the basics and core concepts about security. But yeah, that's honestly the best place to start, is that Security Plus course. And from there, I guess, you know, just HackTheBox. Maybe a few of you are here from HackTheBox, but HackTheBox is amazing. Great starting point to learn, you know, to pop boxes, I guess, in a sense we could say that. But before I took my OSCP, I did the HackTheBox, and I did that for, I think 3 months. And the community is amazing. The moderators are great. James is amazing. You know, he just recently, I think a few months became, I'm not sure, a head of something, or he started working for HackTheBox. But really great guy, you know, really putting all the material together. But yeah, going back, Security Plus is the greatest place you could start at. And then I guess just learn from there. It's you know, I did write a blog post about this. If I could find it now. I'm typo challenged, by the way. But maybe some of you seen this. It's been on HackTheBox. It's been on a few other forums, but I wrote something about, you know, you becoming pen testers. It really goes deep into the skills as well as the lifeblood of what a security consultant or a security professional needs. And that includes everything from web app security, including Hackers 101, Pen Tester Lab Bootcamp, reading actually the bug bounties and HackerOne reports is actually a very, very good way if you want to learn more web application hacking. That combined with the Web Application Hackers Handbook, which I'm currently looking at right now at my bookcase, is phenomenal. But yeah, if I'll just actually post this for you guys. Yeah, Fox, I would agree. Maybe CompTIA isn't like the best certificate you can have. But, you know, just the material that's in there and the way that Professor Messer teaches it, I personally think it's great for people who are trying to start out. But then again, you know, just the vast amount of resources online and that I compiled into this blog post, you know, is great. IPSec, if a lot of you haven't watched IPSec, that he does a lot of the HackTheBox videos. Great guy, really smart dude. Does a lot of these videos where you can learn about the different attacks. And of course, I'm just gonna start clicking random buttons on my keyboard. But yeah, that's honestly the best way to really interface yourself into security, is to start from the beginning, start from the basics, move your way up, and talk with the community. I know a lot of us are currently in HackTheBox and other probably pen-tested labs. If you ever seen that, it's more of like a Russian pen-testing lab. It's more advanced, but it's also, you know, has its own little set of community that's always open to teaching people about the basics. And then just got the CEH. Oh boy. Do you really want me to get started on the CEH, or I think we all agree that it's a really, really bad certificate. Certificate, if I could call it that. Don't do it. I guess that's the biggest problem with a lot of colleges right now. They're trying to, you know, get students to do the CEH, and they're trying to walk out of college. Be like, yeah, it is more of a memory test. I'm not gonna argue with you about that. Oh yeah, thanks Ramon. Pentested.ru, not Pentester Lab. They're gonna come back to me and be like, yeah, we're not Russian. False information and all stuff like that. So, all right, let's see what else we got for a few people. Okay, Ramon, I know that's your question. I'm not answering that one. And you know I'm not gonna answer. I'm not answering that question. Yeah, right, gets sued for defamation. And I guess if you know, a lot of you guys are probably on Twitter and everything, you'll see some like really weird, or I guess like offensive ways of people interacting with the community. So yeah, let's just be good to each other. I guess that's one thing I'm really gonna say. So here comes another question, and this person's asking, it feels like all the InfoSec conferences always hype up the red team tools as sexy to do. I feel like we as an industry need to hype the blue team tools, especially the open source / free tools. What are your thoughts? I think that's very true. And yeah, Ramon, some people use Twitter to spread drama. It's not healthy. Not at all. And this is actually one of the topics that comes up a lot on Twitter. And it has been up a lot. A lot of people have been arguing about the differences of, you know, conferences of putting out these red team tools, these advisories. And then there's no real focus for blue team, for the defenders. And is that a problem? Yes and no. From my personal perspective, before I became a security consultant, I was a security engineer, and I did a lot of blue team work, usually specifically for a government aerospace agency. And, you know, I did a lot of like threat hunting, configuring the environment, making sure that, you know, our users aren't doing stupid stuff. So do we as an industry need to hype the blue team tools? Yes, absolutely. And I actually want to give a big shout out to Sans for this year's Sans Holiday Hack for actually making the whole event for blue teamers. It was specifically focused on, you know, using Splunk, on how to use JQ, on how to parse queries and how to parse logs. You know, utilizing open source tools. And it's phenomenal because they actually gave information on how you could hack trackers, how you can hack or hack, I guess, track, how you can track down, you know, different events within your environment to, you know, hunt these attackers. So I guess if you guys haven't done Holiday Hack, just gonna go there right now. And I'm just gonna do, you know, shameless self-promotion about this, because I already wrote a blog for this as well. Nope, it's not ending. Don't mind me clicking random stuff. So I guess, yeah, let's see if I can find these. A lot of PowerShell stuff, which is great, especially for defenders. Right, so there we go. Basically, these challenges evolved utilizing Splunk, teaching other users on how to utilize it, had its queries, and, you know, understanding, I guess, Windows in depth. So with trainings like this is one of the ways that we are trying to hype the blue team side to a lot of the people in the information security industry. The big reason you're trying to do this is that if you ever, I guess, do pen testing for companies, or if you've ever done bug bounties, you could see how bad security is sometimes. Maybe for like internal network penetration tests or web application assessments. But the problem was that we can't really blame like the company and the workers there. The big reason why is that a lot of companies don't really have the time and the funds to help expand their team and to teach them new things. So it kind of, yes, it does fall on us as a community to help like spread these tools, to help show people how to utilize like Splunk and how to utilize like other open source tools from like Trusted Sec or a few other companies that, you know, continue to release these, or how to utilize the Yara rules for threat hunting. Florian Roth, for example, he has a ton of great stuff on, you know, utilizing Yara rules and threat hunting. And then Swift on Security on Twitter, which I swear to God I think is a parody account, but it seems so real. She has great configurations for the basics of setting up Sysmon within their local environments. So yeah, it definitely comes to the fact that we should be hyping these blue team tools and we should be spreading the word. Now, we should also be hyping the red team tools from my perspective, is because as a blue teamer, for us to learn, the best way to learn is to utilize tools already released to us. So Covenant, which is a command and control server, using Metasploit, using other techniques that come out from research. You know, not specifically maybe 0 days, but attacks like the OLE remote code execution that occurred in like Word in like 2014, that was being utilized by adversaries. You know, it's stuff like that that basically helps defenders, you know, understand the wide-ranging impact that these attacks can have, and then yeah, giving us the tools to teach us how to protect ourselves. You know, it's like vice versa. And I mean, a lot of people can argue about like the release of red team tools causing more damage than good, and yeah, it's true. A lot of like adversaries are using open source tools like Covenant. So, but yeah, that's honestly my thoughts. You know, they're kind of shallow in a sense. You know, and I could definitely go a little bit more in depth on, you know, what kind of tools we could hype up. But yeah, blue team is sexy too, guys. I mean, who wouldn't want to sit in a network and hunt hackers? I mean, you know, you find them on a computer and you write them hello, like, you know, in Darknet Diaries when they talked about the Carbonac attack. I mean, I think that's cool. It's like Mr. Robot, but you're chasing the hackers. Is it cumbersome and is it tiring? Absolutely. Being on call 24/7 as a security engineer, you know, and, you know, coming in, you know, like day before Christmas, all happy with a cup of coffee, your little Christmas hat on, like ready for the holidays, and, you know, you just see somebody standing there being like, hey, I have a problem. And they're like, okay, what you guys do? Oh, so our file extensions are different. And lo and behold, like the whole network's encrypted. Been there, done that. So could have been prevented with more blue team tools. Yep. Was I young and stupid? Absolutely. If I had more of like this information, it definitely helped me, you know, implement them into my company instead of being like, hey, we need money for all these like publicly like sold EDRs and antiviruses, which honestly you could just do with Windows Defender and like a few custom rules. And Ramon, oh yeah, thanks. See, I'm still learning how to Twitch. Let me go ahead and change that title right now before I do forget. And if you might hear the keyboard in the background, if you're interested to know what that is, it is actually a Ducky 1.2. But I love those keyboards. IPSEC had one and I fell in love with it. You're gonna see me struggling live on how to use Twitch. So hopefully this will be way smoother later down the line. Oh, I gotta start somewhere. Ramon, I think I'm just gonna pay you to do this for me. Right. Fox, you work as a blue team for a company? I used to. I used to be a security engineer. Currently, I work as a security consultant and a red team operator. So quite a shift, honestly. I kind of got really tired of a lot of the 24/7 call and, you know, not getting enough funding. You know, it's... Have I ever had issues with people thinking you are doing nothing? Absolutely, yeah. Yep. It happens in IT way more than, you know, than you would think. That's great. But yeah, I mean, I worked as a help desk before I moved my way into information security. And, you know, something would go down or something would go wrong, people would be like, yep, what are we paying you for? You're supposed to keep this working, you're supposed to keep it up, or when something broke, what are we paying you for? So I guess as a security engineer, it's and I guess a lot of the security jobs now, they're kind of thankless. And you kind of have to come to the understanding that, yeah, you're gonna do a lot of work a lot of hours, and honestly, the only person that might thank you is your boss or like the CISO, or you forget about the like C-level staff and other users, you know. Maybe unless somebody gets phished and you kind of help them out, they might be, you know, that's a thank you. But yeah, I've got that one too many times, and you know, even in consulting, it's the same thing. You know, you have clients that coming in and you're doing work for them, and they really don't understand like the stuff you do to like help them. I guess some of like maybe the security engineers do, but it's thankless, right? You'll find this and it's like, oh yeah, we already known about this, or yeah, we don't care about it. So it's a thankless job, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't, you know, everyone might feel about it a little bit differently. And I know a lot of us really want to encrypt. Yeah. Yeah, we could, you know, let's just go on the black side and, you know, work for free money, build some ransomware. But Yeah, that's not really something you should be doing. And I guess aside of that ransomware, if you actually seen, it just was on Twitter recently. Who was that company? Business 101. Yeah, right. How do you think a lot of EDRs got into business? You know, they sell solutions that you could have for free, and that's like this, like, not bashing on EDRs, they're great, but you could do a lot with, you know, open source tooling. Yeah, it does apply to all markets, unfortunately. So, yeah, going back to what I was saying about, you know, going to the black side. Slick Wraps was breached, actually. And Troy Hunt posted about this, which I think is funny because the guy wrote a blog post of how he hacked the website, which is and it's funny because if you actually scroll down and figure out what he did, is that they had a case customization link on their website, and basically you could just upload any file to the root directory and execute a remote shell. So, you know, think about the security engineers or developers trying to fix that. It's thankless, man. It's thankless. But cool. Let's hack them, ransomware them, and demand a pen test. Which is actually funny because I remember my boss telling me about a year or two ago was that there was a company that did that. They exploited a 0-day, sent a worm in your system, and then you'd get pop-up ads and emails from this company saying, hey, you know, free security, or, you know, pay us to help you, and hey, it worked until they got caught. So, do you want to go to jail? Probably not. But besides that, let's actually move on with some more of the questions. This reminds me of a recent pen test. Really, Ramon? What kind? Response. Cool. So actually, another of the questions that I had was... Oh, this is a good one. So, what was your introduction to exploit development? Was there a moment where things clicked? And are there any books you recommend to beginners? So, that's actually a great question. And I know a lot of us, when trying to get into exploit development, especially for the OSCP, we do have a hard time understanding the basics for exploit development. So I guess the main introduction for me, especially for exploit development, was in HackTheBox. I'm not sure what machine that was, but we had to write a simple buffer overflow in Linux, and then use GDP. We had to use GDP to you know, find it and exploit it, and you know, as simple as just writing one too many characters into a buffer and, you know, popping a shell, which was easy. So I guess that was my like first introduction to exploit development. And what really helped me understand the basics was watching a lot of Live Overflow's videos. So if you actually don't know who Live Overflow is, he does a lot of YouTube videos on like hardware hacking, CTFs, and exploit development, which is like a great starting point for anybody who's trying to break into that. So the following question that said was there a moment where things clicked? Yeah, there actually was a moment where things definitely clicked for me, especially for exploit development. And that I can't really say during the OSCP, because when I was doing my OSCP, a few of those things were very complex still. They were like very foreign, especially when you try to understand ASM or assembly. In that case, x86 for 32-bit systems. You know, it's very hard to try and wrap your head around it and to really what's going on. So the moment things really clicked for me is I think after I finished reading The Art of Exploitation, which is technically focused specifically around doing exploit development in Linux. I think the next book was Shellcoder's Handbook, which went over creating shellcode for Linux. I think there was some Windows covered there as well. So at that point, that's when things started to click. You know, once you started understanding the assembly at a deeper level and understanding what's really going on in an application, that's when you kind of understand that, hey, you know, there's this bug, or there's this overflow, or there's like a off by one error that's occurring in the program, and you know, you could spot it because it's, you know, in the assembly, even if you're doing reverse engineering and looking from some code samples. So would there be any books that you recommend for beginners? Yes, as I already said, Hacker's Art of Exploitation was one of those books. And thank me later. All right, let's see what this is. All right, there you go, guys. Copy that link. Yeah, Hacking Art of Exploitation, amazing book. I do always say support the author. Just saying. But yeah, that's actually a ton of great books. Wow. Black Hat Python is amazing as well. So great link in there. Definitely save it for yourselves, guys. But yeah, Hacking Art of Exploitation, that was like the first book that really helped me understand things at a deeper level. Maybe not specifically for Windows, but for Linux. But the x86 assembly language isn't different between those two. Unless, you know, you go deeper into like kernel and syscalls. But, you know, you're not going to really do that when you start reverse engineering at the first time. And I guess the next book was Shellcoder's Handbook. So yeah, Shellcoder's Handbook's also great. It's much more advanced, a little bit more complicated, but a great jump and introduction into shellcoding. Now, if you're actually doing that for the OSCP, I don't recommend you doing this or reading this book for it, because it's a little bit more advanced. So if you really want to move into like the OSCE. Yep, and Fox, great one as well. Humble Bundle actually has, I think, 60 more days for. So it's like what, $1, $5, like $8, $10 you pay, and you get all these books, which is actually great because each of these costs like $30, $20-$30 each. So yeah, reverse engineering secrets. That's also great if you want to learn how to reverse engineer and find like exploits. Practical reverse engineering is great as well. All right, Eris, thank you for following. But yeah, and actually another also really good resource is, if you guys never heard of Open Security Training, they actually have a lot of free material online for much more than just assembly. But network hunting, hacking techniques, Android forensics, WeChal challenges. Yeah, those are also great. Or WeChal. I'm not sure how we pronounce them. There's another one I keep forgetting that I think it's like pwn.kr. Yeah, pwnable.kr. They have like free binaries you could practice. But yeah, going back to, you know, understanding the basics of assembly, the introductory Intel x86 course. It's actually phenomenal. So I don't think they do these live anymore, but they do have YouTube videos saved, and they do have the PDF and course material, all there for you. So simply you could just go to the HD YouTube videos and, everything from the course that they did. And they actually do a very, very good job on teaching the basics and helping you understand everything that's going on within the code. So, what a jump is, how a XOR occurs, the different registers like EPI, ERI, ERD. I'm confusing myself now. But yeah, but those are honestly the best ways you could get into doing exploit development, is learning the basics. And then I guess also doing a lot of capture the flag events, wherever that might be, whether that's online, or maybe at a conference. I mean, those are great. Just sit down next to someone and just start hacking. Learn from there, join a team, share the information. And I know probably IPSec also has a few videos on exploit development, especially for some of the HackTheBox boxes, if I could say it in that way. But yeah, as well as all the resources that Fox provided, these are great starting points. And I know. What are your thoughts on HTB? I think HackTheBox is phenomenal. Now, previously, I was kind of iffy about him because a few of the challenges and a lot of the boxes were more like capture the flag focus, so they weren't really kind of giving you more of like the real world experience. It was more of like a, I guess, in a sense that a few people stated it as a Sunday crossword puzzle, right? You're just there either brute forcing something or you're trying to figure it out. Now, yeah, of course, that does occur in real life environments, and sometimes you'll see some of the stupidest things on client networks or, in real life situations on websites. And I know Ramon, he did a pen test recently where he just wanted to facepalm himself so hard because it was like textbook example of like a vulnerability in like a massive website, so you wouldn't really expect that. But I really do like HackTheBox. Now it does have a very, very high learning curve, especially when it comes to trying understanding all the tools and understanding like the different processes of finding these bugs. So especially like having the mix of web application or exploits in different ports or different services, it can be a little bit overwhelming for people who are starting off. But, the best way to learn is honestly just jump in the fire. Now, are there some bad boxes with HackTheBox? Absolutely. There's some ones where you have to sit like 3-4 hours brute forcing something, which is kind of infeasible. And I'm not really a fan of those. But I'm a big fan of those that actually teach you like exploitation of a vulnerability, or something much more complex and complicated. Including the more complex boxes, they do stuff like secondhand SQL injection, which you can see in environments, and you'll see that often, which is like much more harder to exploit. But it really instills, I guess, in a way, that HackTheBox really instills that. How to put it in a way, it teaches you basically how to think on your own, how to push yourself forward, how to Google the answer and ask for help from other people. Just going around being like, oh, I don't get this, can somebody help me? But instead of going out and doing it is is something that I like about HackTheBox. So I'm not sure, maybe you had a bad experience with it, maybe it's too complex for you. If that's the case, I do highly recommend people read, I'm not gonna try and say this guy's name because I'm gonna butcher it, but he has like a CTF series for vulnerable machines, and goes over everything on finding different open ports through Nmap, using Netcat, fuzzing, like unprivileged shell to privileged shell, like ton of information. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna butcher his name. It's gonna be so bad. I think he does, yeah. If you go to his main page, he has a lot of other, you know, infrastructure pen test series, which is great. Vulnerability analysis, exploitation. Yeah, probably what teaches me the most is doing old CTFs and reading write-ups. Yeah. I was actually watching Ned Williamson's talk from 35. Jeez, I'm gonna butcher that name. Chaos Community Congress, I believe that's what it is, in Germany. And he basically stated that, yeah, it took him like 5 years to become like the awesome exploit development guy he is. You know, popping like 0 days in Chrome's IPC. So yeah, honestly, and he also suggested that if you really want to learn is you go back into like old code where there were vulnerabilities, and looking into where bugs were found and trying to find that bug yourself, you know, so like fuzzing it and trying to figure out like, you know, what have I done? Yeah, go to sleep, man. It's 4 a.m. Wow. But yeah, thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate you. So actually going back to that Ned's talk, yeah, he just said going back, you know, seeing the code, understanding where the bug occurred and trying to find it yourself, and then learning how you could find that in probably like IDA or in something else, maybe Ghidra if you're reverse engineering applications and source code, and then actually seeing that in open source, you know, tools. If you start auditing them, you know, like you'll start noticing off by one errors, you'll start noticing maybe like double free errors where they're freeing up memory multiple times when there's nothing there, which can also lead to like memory corruption issues. But yeah, as I stated previously, you haven't joined me, is that, yeah, go back to HackerOne, read the write-ups there. They have some phenomenal write-ups that you could just read and try and understand of how they found it. Maybe it's not super detailed, but there are a lot of people that post blog posts on how they pop the shell or how they found like this very weird bug within the systems. So that's, yeah, I'll agree with you. That's the best way to learn. Go and read up stuff from other people and then try and apply that to whatever you're doing, whether that's, you know, Hack the Box or, you know, go start like a small project. Decide that you're gonna go and hack a web application, not you know, live on the internet so you don't get sued, but like Hack the Box, or there's you know, OWASP boxes that you could spin up. Well, VulnHub is great, and then just apply those techniques and, you know, even better, write your own web application, put in a vulnerability here or there and exploit that, and then figure out how to fix it. You learn 2 things at once: how to pop boxes, how to exploit web application issues, and how to code, which will seriously tremendously help you in learning how to have more secure coding skills and understanding where vulnerabilities can occur or why you're doing something wrong, like there's no input validation or output sanitization. And it's a great way to learn, because then you're like, well, I, you know, screwed myself over here by writing this vulnerability into the application. So that's also a great way to learn coding, you know, if you haven't picked it up as well. Have you had burnout and what was your solution? Oh, wow. So yeah, actually, I burned out, I think, 2.5 times. The half time I actually caught myself. I burned out once after my, I think it was my first year and a half as a security analyst. I was overly concerned with a lot of the work I was doing. I was paranoid, you know, that, you know, if something goes wrong on my network, like I'm going to get in trouble for it. There's just a ton of work. And the biggest issue is because we didn't have enough employees to, you know, cover the work that we were doing or cover the shifts. We were on call 24/7. You know, my phone used to go off 3 to 4 times a week at like 3 to 4 in the morning. I used to go out to bars to have a drink with friends. I'd have a phone call at like 1 in the morning. You know, there's an issue, and usually the issue was, hey, a server went down, you know, we're calling you from our security operations center, can you bring it back up? And it's just stuff like that that really burnt you out. And you know, as a blue teamer, as an ex-blue teamer, a lot of companies, they didn't really funnel the money because they didn't really think security was important. So you wouldn't have like a budget, you'd have to like configure your own tools. You know, you'd have to make do with what you had. So that was one of the biggest reasons I burnt out. I was overworked, I was overstressed, I was underpaid, I was concerned with stuff that shouldn't have been my problem. And that really related to burnout. And I also felt the fact that I wasn't good enough to do the job because, hey, maybe somebody got fished or some alert showed up and I missed it. And I'm like, oh no, we're gonna get hacked. Like, it's gonna be me. I'm gonna get fired. So that led to my burnout. And it happened again a year later after I got out of it. Same reason. My health deteriorated. I was sitting at my desk for many hours a day. I stopped having lunch because I gotta get this done. I gotta get this finished. I stopped going to the bathroom. Like, it's stuff like that. Because you're so mentally drained and you're so mentally focused on doing this because you think that if you don't, it's gonna mess up your whole life, and it's bad. So one thing I did to deal with burnout specifically, in my case, I mean, it depends on everyone else. One, find a hobby besides security. If you come back home from work, which honestly, you should only be working 8 hours a day, unless, you're getting paid by the hour and you have to do more hours, but if you're getting paid salary, you work 9 to 5, that's all you do. Don't work any more than that. If there's more work that has to be done, you have to catch up to it. Perfect. Time management, that's one of the biggest things that I had to work with. And once I understood that I work 9 to 5, I go home, and whenever I'm home, I put away work, I put away hacking, I go watch TV, I go play a video game, I go hang out with friends, go to the gym, work out. Honestly, that's the biggest thing that helped me. So dropping work when I got home, going to the gym to work out, even if you didn't want to go to the gym, pick up a sport, rollerblading, go for a walk, at least 30 minutes a day. Eat healthier, I guess, you're gonna, I mean, who eats healthy? Like, we're just gonna have like cookies and coffee, that's all we survive on, right? I survive on donuts myself. But doing that, just taking care of yourself and, of your mental state, because that's what's most important. Because at the end of the day, it's what you matters, and your mental state and your health and your well-being. Company gets breached or company gets hacked. Sure, maybe they'll yell at you, but at the end of the day, you're not dead. You're healthy. You're feeling good. That's the most important thing. And that should always be your number one goal. Family, family, and friends. Picking up meditation is also great. I did that. I do it 10 minutes a day in the morning. Sometimes I do it multiple times. It helps me clear my mind. It helps me focus. And it helps with the stress. It really does help with the stress, especially with a lot of us in the security industry suffering from mental illnesses or suffering from depression. It's an ongoing thing. It's really bad, and you should really take care of yourself. And that happened twice, and I caught myself and I said, I have to change. And it started happening again when I was about 1.5 years as a security consultant. So the way I started feeling the symptoms, and I'm sure a lot of us will feel these symptoms. You wake up in the morning, you're groggy, you don't want to go to work, you're disconnected from your friends, your family. A lot of stuff irritates you. You don't eat, I guess, like you don't focus on eating. You're sleepy all day. Those are usually signs of burnout and possible depression. And I've been there, and I know a lot of us have been there. And it's something that a lot of us have to, fight with and try and better ourselves on it. But, this time, the second I caught myself falling into that burnout stage, I dropped everything. I'm like, I had to revisit what I was doing. So am I working too long? Am I stressing over stuff that I'm not supposed to? Kind of reevaluating like what you're doing and where your where your responsibilities lie at that point, and then reorganizing them. So I'm not spending time with my family. I'm not working out. I should reorganize my responsibilities and focus on that. And then go on vacation. I love going to Mexico. I love the sun. So go get some sun. Go swimming for like a week. Drop your phone for a day. Drop your computer. Don't look at Facebook. Don't look at Instagram. Don't look at Twitter. Just drop that for a day, for a weekend. Go hiking. Enjoy what you have is what I'm gonna say. Life's too short. There's no point of us stressing over work and stressing over adversaries creating new malware. So yeah, that's honestly what I believe. And I think it's the best way to deal with burnout. It's my personal solution. Take care of yourself. Listen to heavy metal. I do. I mean, I don't know what you guys listen to. I know I have some like Monster Cat playing in the background here. Yeah, you're not. But yeah, best way to deal with burnout is what I. And it works. It does. Yeah, good advice. It's true. And it took 3 attempts to figure it out. You know, and it's funny because you could give good advice, but then you never listen to that advice when you're doing it. So do you have any tips for staying motivated in uni? Sending him a sec, but I feel like I'm being a Java game developer or mathematician. Cool about attacks in crypto, but failed the exam due to getting questions like... Oh, come now. Yeah, okay. If somebody in actual real life asked you, like, list all the 8 fields in an X509 certificate, if somebody asked me that, I'd be like, hold on, let me Google that quickly. Yeah, honestly, that's... So I've given talks at like my old university and at college, and yeah, I feel why that will kill your motivation, right? Because you know, you're taking the class and the teacher's like, oh, you're not good enough, or you don't understand this, or you're not gonna get a job, you're not gonna career. Yeah, that's yeah. Here's the funny thing is, a lot of those professors with like the doctorates or, you know, master degrees, they understand far way less than you understand. So first of all, don't doubt yourself. You know, it's not gonna help you. Look at this as a learning experience, right? Don't have the doubt bring you down and being like, wow, all I'm doing is I'm being more of this and this, and you know, in uni. Yeah, you're gonna feel like a Java game developer because everyone in uni and college teach you Java, which I personally think is a great starting language. Because if you can learn Java, everything else comes easy. Python, Ruby, C, C++. Can all crypto challenges? Can't do crypto in you. Yeah, because most of those challenges are pretty either super complex and you have to be like a math major. I was a math minor and I had to take like some quantum math class to get my minor. I don't know how I passed with an A. Don't ask. If my professor ever watches this, he's gonna go like... But yeah, so how to stay motivated? You do you, man. Or ma'am, I'm not sure. But yeah, you do you. Study what you want to study on your own time, because I have a very firm belief with college and universities, and that's that they won't teach you everything. Maybe, you know, the ones in Europe, they're focused on teaching you stuff a little bit more better than they are here in America, because America's education system is really broken. And, you know, the big problem is that people think that they're going to get their bachelor's or their master's and they're going to get a job right after college. Well, I hate to break it to you, that's not the case. Because a lot of these universities are not teaching you the basics you need to understand all of this or get a job. So, did you... Yeah. Up, there we go, you know. Yeah, I was trying to avoid that. Yeah, so, do you want to drop uni and get some certs and then work? You know, a lot of like cybersecurity firms, mine especially, when we hire consultants, we don't look if you have a degree. We don't care. We look at what you provide to the industry. GitHub, GitLab. Have you done talks? Have you done blog posts? You done HackTheBox? You know, we have people coming in with, I have an OSCP. I've done HackTheBox. That's a big plus for me. I'm gonna look at you and be like, all right, at least you understand what you're doing. At least I would hope so. You know, coming down to a basic level, understanding your ports and map, you know, basic vulnerabilities, and that's great. If you understand those basics, we could build you up. So, going back to the fact that, do you want to drop uni? Don't drop it. I personally believe that, you know, the certificate's going to help you along the way. Maybe later in the future, maybe, you know, you get a job for your first time if you aren't already working. I highly do suggest you try and find an internship while you're in uni, even working half the time, because that's going to give you like that foot in the door, and it's going to give you more and more experience than what uni can provide you. And yeah, doing HackTheBox and other stuff on the side is great. It's a great way for you to learn. I personally, when I did my 4 years in college, and I graduated back in 2017, damn, that's time flies. But back when I graduated, I spent 4, 5 hours a day after college, you know, after I did my homework, doing HackTheBox, reading blogs, watching YouTube videos, reading books, learning how to code on my own, doing like learning Python and Ruby. I decided to pick up some projects, decided to write my own like brute forcing program in Python, and just Googled stuff, Stack Overflow, all that junk. Used Code Academy. Code Academy is great to learn basic languages. So even if you're like, you know, not feeling like you're learning a lot in university or in college, and you feel like these professors are kind of, I guess, like pushing you down, yeah, it's understandable. Like you don't feel accomplished. It's okay. You know, focus on what you want to learn, but also focus on some of the topics in class, because some of these things are going to really help you. Now, you don't have to understand all of these by hand. You don't have to understand, you know, or remember all of these the second somebody asks you to do this. A lot of us, you know, being good IT guys and security engineers or security consultants, oh, how are you so good? Google. It's Google. So, yeah, don't let yourself get down, man. Staying motivated, it's like I said, focus on what you want to focus in InfoSec, and focus on the class that you want to take. You know, sometimes, you know, they might tell you that you have to take this class or this class to graduate. Go to your advisors and ask them, hey, can I take this class? Because I feel like it's more along the line of what I want to do instead of what you're telling me I need to do. And sometimes they'll get it approved for you. And, you know, and that really helps. It helps you make, it helps you feel like you're actually spending money on something decent. Right? But all in all, university is not going to teach you everything in the end. You have to teach yourself. You know, a lot of us are self-taught, unless you went to like a very good college, like, you know, maybe like Joru and a lot of these guys like Ned, and I think Tavis Warmindy as well. I think they went to like, you know, these top universities, like learning coding. It's like watching the Facebook movie, right? Just they're geniuses, right? And it's like universities like that actually teach you properly. But you know, we can't always all afford that. So yeah, stay yourself motivated, do what you want at home, read stuff on your own, don't burn out. Like go do stuff, man. I assume that you're still young, so you still have a lot of time ahead of you. You know, that's the good thing if you started young. You don't start when a lot of people are like 30 and 40, and hey, you could still do that, get into security at that age, but you know, you have the advantage. You know, you don't sit there going like, oh god, my back hurts. Which I hope it doesn't, because I swear to god, I'm gonna open malware. Cold boot attack. Okay, so these are interesting. I'm always interested in like hardware research. And it seems you also have a blog, which is actually great. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely want to read this. I should screen share too if people haven't seen this. Yeah, these are cool. I really get interested on like topics like this. And since you're posting stuff, let's go check out. Okay, now I feel very shitty because I have a bad blog and you have like this. So I guess you're still working on it, but Norway. Nice. You could find a lot of good companies out there. Hopefully you don't mind me putting this up on the stream, man. I know some people might be like, ah, oh, don't. Okay, awesome. Yeah, but definitely, if you're in Europe, definitely look for internships. I think that's the best thing you could do. Yes, yep. GitHub hosted pages are phenomenal. I think I already had one script city say that they're gonna DDoS my website. And I'm like, go for it, man. If you could take down GitHub, props to you. So. Alright, I guess any more questions from you guys? The viewers that are watching. I know there's one more here, I believe, somewhere. Let's see. How to cook an egg hunter. Okay. So we're going back to exploit development here. But okay, so hopefully, if hopefully for you guys that have done maybe exploit development or do understand basic assembly. So for this person, if you do not know what an egg hunter is, it's simply like assembly shellcode. And shellcode, you hear that saying a lot when you do exploit development. It's basically code that's get executed by the CPU and everything. And what an egg hunter is specifically is that what it does is it searches like virtual space safely, because if you're touching memory addresses and modifying that, you can lead to another like memory corruption issue, or the application can crash. So that's not really what's something you want to do, especially when you're writing an exploit and you want this to work seamlessly. But so what an egg hunter does is that you specify like a tag. It could be like woot woot or dead beef, or like hunter, something short like that. And what you do is you put that into a memory register, and then you tell the program in assembly to search the memory across the application to find that handle. And when it does find that handle, what occurs is that it continues on with its exploit. So after that handle, for example, you might have something like woot woot, followed by shellcode, which might pop a backdoor. It could do something else. It could give you like privileges, it could crash the server, maybe execute another command. So there's actually a lot of good blogs online for creating these egg hunters. Fuzzy Sex Security, he has a lot of good stuff on egg hunters. But one of the well-known, Security Shift has a good one. One of the well-known egg hunters that you might see a lot will be Matt Miller's egg hunter. And if I could actually find this. So Matt Miller, I'm not sure if he's the one that originally wrote the egg hunter, or he wrote like the shellcode that works the best. Let's see if I can't find an example of this, because there are actually different ways of doing an egg hunter utilizing specific Windows API calls to have like safe, not memory management, but safe checks on the memory. So let me see if I can find it. Egg hunter. Right. So as I already explained, Fuzzy Security has amazing tutorials. He goes by the name Beef. If you guys aren't really familiar with him, he and the Wover actually gave a talk at OffensiveCon, I believe OffensiveCon, about .NET attacks. Smart guys, amazing work, really. So, as I already explained, basically, for the egg hunter, let me see if I can find it. It's just gonna be me. Let me see if I can find. Brilliant tutorials is actually very good at this for as well. I'm just trying to show you guys. Okay, so yeah, this is simply an egg hunter right here. It's confusing at first, completely understandable. And you might see differences between like is bad read pointer, anti-display string, and or anti-access check. And a lot of you might be like, what is this really? So really, basically, in Windows, you have a lot of these backend API calls. NT, NT is more of it's a syscall to kernel. I don't really want to get too deep into it, but these are like undocumented API calls in Windows that do specific function checks. So specifically with this egg hunter that we're looking at right here, what the NT-access check does is it actually checks to see if no access memory ranges are preventing like or causing issues for us. So if we try and access like a memory range to read it, or we try to like write information to it, it's going to check and say, okay, hey, there's an issue. We can't basically access this memory region, and it's gonna quit. And we can do something like jump, where it's just gonna jump back and keep looping until it finds a memory region that it can read, and then it'll keep reading until it finds it. So in this example right here, so you'll see an OR DX sometimes. Most of the time you'll see this the same way. So what this does is it goes to the last address in a page within the memory page. So it's what technically it can do is it'll XOR the EDX register and set that counter to just zeros. So it sets the page to like empty. And then you increment EDX, so EDX will act as that counter. Basically, that's why we zeroed it out, or got the last address in the page, which is 0. And then we're going to increment the value in EDX with this operation. Then the next thing we do is we're going to push EDX. So if you understand some assembly, stack is FILO, first in, last out. Sometimes you'll hear LIFO, last in, first out. But any information you put on the stack goes to the bottom, and then you just start writing up to it. So if you're trying to write, for example, let's say you have a program and you want to push 3 variables in like order 1, 2, 3, you have to push onto the stack 3, 2, 1. Otherwise it won't read it properly. It's going to actually be in reverse. So you have to push a lot of this stuff backwards, and you'll actually see that a lot when you're writing I guess like a string, or if you're writing digits to it, you have to do it all backwards and in hex, because sometimes it'll break. So after we push EDX onto the stack, that's going to act as our counter. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to push the bytes. So we're going to push byte plus 02. So this can be done a little differently, because you'll see push byte directly and then pop EAX follows right after. You can have those commands too, but what they initially do is initialize that NT access check and audit alarm. That's technically a syscall, and if you're not familiar with what syscalls are, you could just quickly Google that. They're basically a call that goes from user land to kernel land, and that happens both in Linux and in Windows. But if you go to syscalls, I think I forgot who actually wrote this. Oh, they call it Dumpert, I think. I'm just gonna figure this out. Yeah, Outflank. So Outflank actually built a tool to dump passwords from a system by using syscalls. This is also too, this actually explains their blog. So this is a syscall you could see. It goes from user land to kernel land. And each syscall has actually a syscall number, which in this case, NT write file syscall is 08 in hex. And then this syscall instruction gets called. And you can actually look at, if you know who Joru from Google is, he actually has a blog that details all of these syscall tables. So he works for Project Zero? Google, yeah, Project Zero for Google, and he has all of these detailed. So if you're ever, doing like Windows stuff, and God, I'm clicking too much. But if you're doing Windows stuff, you want to do syscalls, you could look up the syscall symbol or the API call you want to use, and then look at the different number that's being utilized. But so going back to that, and a quick explanation of syscalls. Excuse me. So the next instruction what we have is, so we do have that pop EAX. Of course, it's gonna basically initialize that syscall. In this case, we're gonna pop 02 or 043 into EAX. So it's used for that parameter as a syscall. So we push by popping something is you're taking the variable off the stack or whatever information you have on the stack and putting that into a register. So in this case, we have 02 on the stack, which was pushed earlier, and that's popped off. So popping it off and putting it into EAX. So if you ever see pop, it's just taking the first thing on the stack and putting it into the variable. And then we're initializing 2E. So 2E is actually the syscall identifier in Windows. Now, mind you, this is Windows exploitation, not Linux, and it will vary differently in Linux. So we do call 2E, and then we tell basically the computer that, hey, initialize the syscall. And then we compare AL, which is just checking, I believe, I took my OSCE and I forgot, but I think it checks the 8 bits, correct me if I'm wrong, for the access violation, which in that case is like 05, which is basically stating that your memory region has no permissions for you, so you can't really access that, or you can't write to that, or you can't read from there. So you get an access violation. As you can see here, it's 05. So if we do get an access violation, we're just gonna pop EDX. So we're gonna restore the EDX counter. And then we could do a lot more things here. Like in this case, we have a jump or JEXX, which basically jumps to the start of EX00F. So basically, it just starts looping through the memory regions and reading data. That's what simply it's really doing. And technically, you can also do like a loop where you can increase the page. So, you know, you could just loop through the page, and in case the page is empty and there's no keyword, specifically the keyword that you used, and in our case like woot or dead beef, it's just going to keep going and looking for that. And then the next thing right here is this is where we actually write the egg hunter. This is the main part of that shell code for how an egg hunter interacts. So in this case, we're moving this value, which is in hex, which is simply egg. You could do like 57303054, which is W002 or woot. So that's basically what the egg hunter is looking for. Now, mind you, if you actually look at this, this is written backwards. So you're writing basically, I think, GGE in a sense. Like I said, x86 stack, LIFO, you have to write it backwards. So we're going to write this backwards. And then we're going to move this value into EAX. So EAX is going to store the value we're going to be looking for, or what the egg hunter is going to be looking for. And of course, next thing we're going to move is we're going to set EDX to EDI. So EDI is going to be technically hoarding our pointer. It's going to initialize the check address that we have. As you can see by the increment of the memory regions done by EDX here, that's being pushed onto the stack. So that's going to hold our memory regions. And that's what's going to actually allow us to go through and loop through the memory and actually find that tag. And then you'll see some checks here as well. So you'll see this sometimes. Whatever that is. But basically what it does is it compares EAX with the double word.edi and sets a status flag. So it's basically going to check if whatever is at EDI matches to what we have in EAX, which is technically egg, or in your case, you might use dead beef or woot. And it's going to set a flag for us. So J and Z right here, the XX is basically just going to be the memory region of your assembly of where you're going to jump back. So you're going to have to use a debugger for that to figure it out. It's not too complex. So J and Z is just like jump if not 0. So if, you know, if in case we found the egg or not, it's just going to jump back and keep doing its loop to increase the memory counter by 1 and keep looking through the memory. And then we could do another check. So if no match, it keeps looking through. If the first part of the egg is detected, as through here, if the first part of the egg is detected, which is like woot, you know, in case when we set tags, we want to set 2, like woot or egg, just to make sure that it is actually the shellcode that we entered. because sometimes parts of the egg hunter will just be scattered across memory regions, and we don't want that. So in the case that we do find the first egg, we're gonna check again if there's a second part. So we're gonna compare it second time. So compared, okay. Well, if this fails, then we jump back to our loop and we keep searching until the egg is found, or the first part of our tag is found. And then we're gonna jump back into, whoops, I should stop clicking things. Basically, we're gonna check the first part. If it finds it, we check the second part. If it doesn't find it, we jump back once again into increment EDX as our counter. Keep going through the memory regions. And if it is found, we're basically gonna jump EDI. And by jumping to EDI, the EDI is the destination index. The destination index is basically, as you can see here, we're going to move the memory page address, which we looped through, which was in EDX, from the counter here. And we're going to tell our system to jump to EDI, which is, of course, again, the destination index. And that destination index is actually going to be the location of our shellcode. So that was... And pretty much that's the point of a shellcode. Hey, thanks man for joining. Really appreciate you jumping on. So yeah, that's egg hunting in a nutcase. I was gonna come up with something cheeky with like eggs, but I didn't have it in me. But yeah, so you jump into the EDI, and that EDI basically contains your shellcode, which could be a reverse shell or a netcat connection. And if you look up like simple x86 shellcode, if you go to shellstorm, but this is like for Linux. But they also have for like Windows in this case. We're gonna scroll all the way down. Let's see. Alright, let's say in this case we want to pop calc, right? So we'll use this shellcode pretty much. And now this is just an example of how you can execute it locally in C, but we're just gonna include this into our payload buffer and send that on once the egg is found. And you could see them, I guess you could see the tutorial a little bit later. Like this is Metasploit right here. And then they're going to use their egg to basically execute this once the tag is found. So there you go. You learned how to do egg hunters today. And, you know, it's just simple to Google. But I guess, yeah, it kind of goes back to the question I had previously about, you know, how you got into exploit development. It's basically learning and understanding how assembly works. And it's not too hard. It honestly isn't too hard. It just takes some time to understand all the symbols. And honestly, it's fast to learn if you just go and Google it and read the... Web Hacker's Handbook. Hacking Art of Exploitation. That's the book I was actually thinking about. So, alright. That's all the questions that I had that were sent to me, actually. Any of you guys that are watching, questions? Talk about some stupid stuff that's happening in security now. But day by day, there's like new stuff always popping up. So, all right. Oh. So, is that the case? I know maybe one or two of you are watching. You know that this stream will be archived to my YouTube channel. And basically what I'm aiming to do with that channel is to kind of start like basics, maybe like red teaming, introduction to Active Directory, introduction to like GPO misconfigurations. And I know there's a lot of blog posts out there already specifically for that. I know like Harmjoy has done that. SpectreOps has a lot of great blogs. AD Security, you know, AD gives me nightmares. Yes, yes it does. It's easy to set up. It's very, very easy to mess up too. But it's not too hard to learn. It's complex. Active Directory overall and its GPOs are pretty cool if you get a hang of it. But once you started getting into Kerberos and all those Kerberosting stuff, that's when the fun begins. That's when it starts getting way more complex. But you know, it's a basic standard that you kind of have to learn for if you want to do internal network penetration testing. Because, well, actually, let me scratch that. Yes, you should learn that because a lot of networks are still using Active Directory, and I'll underline why I'm saying still in a bit. But yeah, a lot of networks are using Active Directory and misconfigurations are wide. You've heard of the tool called Bloodhound. Bloodhound is phenomenal for actually looking at like GPO misconfigurations in Active Directory in a wider range. And Bloodhound was actually created by... I love dogs, but not this Bloodhound. So this was created by the SpectreOps team. Phenomenal guys, really smart dudes, honestly. Love talking to them, really sharing a lot of stuff. So Waldo, Captain Jesus, Harmjoy, the ones that really developed this. If you haven't really played with Bloodhound, I suggest looking back into Holiday Hack 2018, where they had an example of how to use this and how you can actually find misconfigurations in Active Directory to get domain admin in like the easiest way possible. So yeah, I'm kind of going off topic again, but pretty much the point of the whole stream, or not this stream, the whole point of that channel is to kind of give the basics and trying to help share information, because I personally believe that information should be free. And I said this before, that a lot of people are like putting this information behind like financial gates. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people yeah, crap, it's LDAP, yep. Hey, I'm gonna butcher the name. Janderloon? Thanks for following, but I'm so bad. I'm so bad at names. Really, really do apologize. You should see me at work. Oh, whew. The amount of time somebody wanted to punch me in the throat for butchering their name. Yeah, so to everybody that I butchered your name, I'm sorry. I'll get better. But yeah, kind of going back to the whole point of the channel, like, you know, Rasta Labs and Rasta Mouse, who does all this work, and a lot of these Active Directory labs. Oh boy, here we go again. TUC, how peak, oh God help me, no. Thanks for following me. I think people are just gonna start creating accounts and, you know, forcing me to say these names. Backwards. You're making my life hard. Peppers. Okay, no. I'm seriously about to write a script to reverse the name and then be like, okay, how are we doing this? let's learn power, or, you know, Python, but this stream's going on too long. Paper cut. Oh my God. You know, that's gonna haunt me now, you know that. I'm gonna be in bed tonight being like, ah, oh, boy. Yeah, brain's not gonna let me go fall asleep. But yeah, kind of going back to the YouTube channel, like Rasta Mouse, he does amazing work for HackTheBox, and he has his own Red Team labs now. And Nikhil, he does like the Red Team lab training. So that stuff definitely. I should have done that. I gotta install Bash on Windows again. Oh. But yeah, like Rasta Mouse and Nikhil, they have amazing training for red teaming labs, and it's really, really amazing training, because they don't just hand these stuff out to you or hand out the answers. They actually make you go and find them and research them. So you actually go through Harmjoy's blogs and learn about attacks against KeyPass. So yes, there's an attack against KeyPass, and they did not fix it because it's functional and it's very amazing. And honestly, since I'm really talking about it, I want to share it with you. Harmjoy actually had this research. I think somebody originally had it. Not sure if I'm taking away your fame. I'm sorry. Let's actually go up to the follow-up. So they released something called Key Thief. If you have KeyPass, I use it personally. It's awesome. But the issue actually occurs when the system's compromised. So if you already have somebody on your system, I think you have more bigger problems than somebody attacking your KeyPass database. So KeyPass, what it actually does is it basically tries and takes the password that you enter when the application's open. Now here's a different approach of doing this. As KeyPass, actually, if I can find it, 'cause I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right one. Yes, this is the one. So KeyPass actually utilizes something called a KeyPass trigger system. Now, this trigger system, if you actually look at KeyPass's information, if I decline your cookies, what happens? It still works. There's all of these events that can occur when KeyPass opens, when you type in the password, when you save an event. So you can fill all these parameters with like environmental variables, and you have different actions. You can execute command line arguments. Fantastic. You want persistence? That's persistence right there. But there's so many like different. You could show message boxes. You could activate data paths. Like, honestly, not a lot of people have researched into exploiting these. So if you really want to play around with it and see what you could do with it, by all means, do it. You know, that'd be cool blog post to read. But back to the blog, basically that trigger system, actually with the execute command line, what you could do is say that, hey, when KeyPass is opened, meaning that you decrypt the database by putting in your password and you access all these passwords, you're just basically going to tell it that, hey, you know, when you access all of this information, I want you to dump. Well, you know, in this case, it's called dump. You're going to tell it, once you execute, I want you to take the database name. So it's actually taking the full database, unencrypted, and saying it, hey, save it to ctemp. And lo and behold, if you actually watch it, hopefully I can open the bigger image of this. The guy logs in, enters his password, the trigger system triggers, and a new database is created in CSV. Simply, if you open that up, you have all the passwords. How awesome is that? Like, you could use that for, you know, maybe attacking your brother or sister or your friends. I do not condone attacking people without permission. Just saying. Just saying. I want to go to jail. But yeah, I'm going off topic again, you see. But, you know, it's just cool stuff like that, really, honestly. It's things you wouldn't expect to give you, like, access to, I don't know, anything. But yeah, so going back to Mouse Labs and like Nikhil and all those guys, yeah, a lot of these stuff's like behind payment walls, and I know a lot of us can't afford it because you're in college or you're still young, or your parents don't want to pay for it because, you know, oh, you're gonna become a hacker. What are you gonna do? Cool stuff. So you're gonna do cool stuff. Tell your parents that. Basically, what I want to do is I want to try to provide information that's free, that everyone can access. I know maybe, like I showed my blog post before, jhallen.github.io. I have a lot of blog posts there specifically for different CTFs and different write-ups. You know, just trying to share the information. But yeah, the point of that blog is, I guess, to just start Active Directory basics, maybe some exploit development, and just see where that goes, really. See what people are interested in. Maybe do some cool projects, some programming. Maybe I'll keep doing these live streams and just putting them away on YouTube, archiving them, and yeah. We've been streaming for about an hour and a half. I don't think there's any more questions from you guys, unless you guys have something you really want to ask. Read the Discord. Posted something. Maybe not. Going to any events? Like tonight? No. Gonna sleep in. I'm actually planning on being at RECon in Montreal, which I think is in June. So I really want to take Windows Internals by Alex Inescu. So yeah, I'll be there. I don't know. Maybe DEF CON and Black Hat this year. We'll see. But yeah, I know actually maybe like HackTheBox hosts some of these events at conferences. So if you're on definitely on the Discord or on the chat, definitely check those out and just meet up with people from HackTheBox. You probably get to meet James. You'll probably get to meet Rasta Mouse, the great guys from Spectre Ops. Really, you know. Just interact with the community, learn from them, make connections, make friends, and heck, who knows, maybe someone will give you a job. Besides Oslo. Here's me, like... I actually did not fail geography, I swear. Alright. Norway! Oh god, I actually want to really come to Norway. I love Europe. I love Europe so much. My parents are from Poland originally, so, you know, going that side. But yeah, if you actually guys saw Ramon here earlier in the chat, he's actually one of my mentees. And he's, you know, he lives out in Europe and yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, I gotta figure out and, you know, if you see this face, just say hello. I'll buy you all guys a drink. What certs do I have? So yeah, people are gonna kill me. I have the Security Plus. Well, I used to have. That's expired. That was basically my introduction certificate when I was an information security analyst intern. I actually took that certificate to like learn the basics, and it really helped. So I had that. And I guess if you actually look behind me, yeah, I have the OSCP, and I have the OSCE as well. So the certified offensive security certified professional and the offensive security certified expert. With the OSCP now that just recently got updated, which I highly suggest you take and do, because it's really up to date on new like Active Directory and red teaming stuff. So honestly, I might even retake it because of the content update. And then the OSCE is more focused around like exploit development and reverse engineering. Maybe not a lot of reverse engineering, but more of exploit development. So that's the only two certs that I currently have, and the only I feel like I might do the OSCEE. I sound like Michael Jackson right now. That's more of like Windows 10 exploit development, doing like kernel exploits and developing exploits for that specifically, along with exploit develop. I'm repeating exploit development too many times. Reverse engineering, not exploit development. Yeah, reverse engineering and learning how to use like WinDebug to like reverse engineer DLLs and stuff and find issues and that stuff. So that's only really the certs I have. I really do support SAN certificates. I support OffSec certificates. I do support the Security Plus, while a lot of people say that, you know, it's more of a memory game. It is, but the material is great to learn, even if you don't get it. So just don't do the CEH. There's no quality in that. What do you mean, Fox? The old stuff. Talking about like the certificates? So yeah, the OSCP was a little irrelevant back in the day, because they were focusing on a lot of exploits and stuff that were they were patched. Let's be honest. Now they recently updated their certificate, and let me actually find what they have. So yeah, they shared. They updated their stuff I guess this year, just a few days ago it came out. So the new penetration with Kali actually really focuses on doing Active Directory attacks, PowerShell Empire, so PowerShell attacks, and there's like more tools on privilege escalation and client-side attacks, as well as tunneling, and a lot of these have been updated. So I really love to see that OffSec took the approach to update these and actually include these. Well, any old hacks aren't completely out depending on the system. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, they don't. So, Renuliv, yeah, you're definitely right. And if you haven't actually seen or joined us on the stream a little bit earlier, I was actually going over the recent breach. I can't even type today. Nope, sorry. Just publicly. Yeah, so Troy Hunt actually displayed this. A hacker wrote how he popped slick wraps. And basically it was, you could update like phone covers. Just upload a web shell. And apparently they were also vulnerable to Dirty Cow. So, nope, you're right. People don't patch. The amount of times we do internal netpens and see people with like MS17010, which is like the Blueborn vulnerability. It's like, what are you guys doing? So yeah, you're right, and I know it's gorgeous. Yeah, definitely read it from Troy Hunt. The stuff that this guy did, he says he did it in like a white hat manner. He wanted to like show people that this is an issue, which I understand it is, but the way he kind of took up with it, I know the company acted very wrong, but the way he did it, I'd be very scared if I did something like that. So highly suggest you read that, how he hacked the slick reps if you want to see how bad it is if you don't patch. You should like start selling a service. Patch today, only for $20. Oh, so alright, Fox. Yeah, people that did OCP before the new update get a better deal. Maybe? I'm not sure. Would we get a discount? OffSec, I believe, does offer discounts for people who have completed previous OSCP and OSCE. I think they're cheaper. Not sure. But would it be easier? Maybe. Maybe. Because previously this was not taught in the OSCP. A lot of these like Active Directory attacks, especially Kerberos and NTLM attacks, as well as PowerShell, PowerShell Empire, and some of these tools for like using Shodan and Pastebin for OSINT, which is amazing to see, like UAC bypasses, HTA attacks, and like this was not taught in OSCP previously. You actually had to read the blog posts for this information coming out with like DDE embedding. Now, while these are patched, they should be patched. They might still work. And there's companies that don't patch, they just run like Office 2013 or Office 2010 and you could just pop shells left and right. But a deeper dive into web application attacks, yeah. Yup. Love Infected Mushroom. If you weren't at DerbyCon for the final closing ceremony, DerbyCon closed, they had Infected Mushroom. Oh my god. They had him live, it was amazing. A lot of us nerds geeking out to him with drinks in our hands. So props to Dave Kennedy for really putting together DerbyCon, and you know, amazing conference, had a lot of smart people. Too bad it shut down. So, but yeah. So yeah, take OSCP. I don't know. I might be interested in taking it just to see how the update is. Because a lot of this is, you know, you have to actually go and Google it. So, excited. Yeah, Sans is very good, but they're very, very expensive. So if you work for a company that could funnel $5,000 for that certificate in training, maybe take it. Yeah, they have very good instructors. You know, even if you can't take Sans training, do their holiday hack. their holiday hack teaches a lot of cool stuff too. More centered for beginners, but you could learn a thing or two. But yeah, those certificates are expensive, but they're very, very well done, and they're constantly updated and well put together. So, like at SCOTUS and the team, great job, guys. Right, cool. So, it's getting late. I don't think I'm gonna go on any further unless you guys have any more questions. Maybe next time I could learn something a little bit different in the stream. Maybe we could do some coding, old boxes, I don't know. You could see me struggle doing some exploit development or typing, either one of those. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna end it right here. Thank you guys for, you know, chilling with me. Oh, they did. See, Europe does a lot more cool stuff than the US for like cybersecurity events and stuff. I mean, the best hacker conferences like the CCC and a lot of like conferences in Poland and everything are pretty damn cool. The ones in Russia too, but you know, have a person like me go to Russia, everyone's gonna be asking why I was there. So it wasn't just for the drinks, it was for the free 0 days. But all right, guys, I think that's where I'm gonna cut it. Once again, really do appreciate you guys kicking back with me and chilling. Thanks for the questions. You guys are great. I'll see you around. Maybe on Discord. I'll go under the name of Skeith, Skeit on Discord, or KKB on HackTheBox. Other than that, yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Have a good night and see you around. And Runlift, thank you for the follow. No. I'm gonna go do that right now. So, all right, guys. Have a good evening, morning. Good God. You're in Norway. Oh boy, it's like late for you. So, all right. Cheers, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy. Go to sleep, man. See you guys.